motorcycle is whatever you want to make it. Turn it on, you can give yourself a real thrill.
First time on the bike.
Pay for it?
Not yet. Get in the truck. No questions. Trying to be very careful about how I ride this thing right now. I'm always a little bit concerned about the how it was set up. If everything was tightened, last thing I need is for my brakes to lock up or a wheel to fall off or the chain to come off. So I'm always pretty weary right when I get a bike like this, but everything feels good so far. I had the dealership set this up with a large IMS tank. It's got that 3-gallon tank on it as opposed to the stock 2-gallon tank, so that'll push my range out far enough to where I can get to the gas stations. And then I also had them put a Kickstarter on this and steel gears for the oil pump as opposed to the nylon ones that are in there, or the plastic ones. Other than that, just riding it. And the deal I got on this, I got it for less than what my local shop was going to charge me with just the Kickstarter installed. So I got everything on here that I wanted installed and out the door for about $400 less than what my local dealership was going to charge me. And that was them giving me a deal, supposedly. The other dealership didn't have a great reputation. I won't go into that. Today I'm riding the 2019 Beta 500 RRS. It's a fully capable dirt bike and fully capable street bike. Top speed stock is over 100 miles per hour. Very capable of doing technical single track. It's got Nissin brakes, front and rear. Brembo hydraulic clutch. Comes standard with signals, brake light, everything to be street legal. Has 52 horsepower, 6-speed transmission. And it is a blast to ride. This is a fuel injected bike. In stock form, I would say this is a very, very capable bike. It is a blast to ride, surprisingly comfortable. The things that I changed right off the bat, I'll put my goggles on for you guys so that we don't get too much wind. I had them put a steel oil pump gear in instead of the stock plastic ones because they recommend that you change those at 100 hours, I believe it is. And with a steel one, you never have to worry about it. I also had them put a 3.1 gallon IMS tank on this. There's an option for a 4-gallon tank as well. This thing doesn't get the greatest gas mileage, so to counteract that, I've put a 3-gallon tank on here to push me out to about 120, 130 miles. From what I've seen, this will go about 80 miles on the stock tank. That's 40 miles per gallon. So I should be able to do 120 miles at least. And this bike does not come standard with a Kickstarter, so I had that installed. And those are the 3 things I had done to this bike. before I even rode it. It's a very strong motor. As I said, it has 52 horsepower. The thing about these 4-strokes is that 52 horsepower is readily available. It's not like a 2-stroke where you have to clutch it up or anything. I mean, you roll on this gas and you get all that horsepower right away. Has a very refined feel to it, definitely. Has great throttle response. The great thing about these betas is that the company is small enough to where they still have a little bit of freedom to make a great bike without federal government EPA regulations. They still have regulations, but they aren't as harsh on this company because it's smaller. And I can tell right now, if I put a free-flowing exhaust on this thing, it would bark way more. One thing I would recommend doing to this bike is having your wheels balanced. At about 65 miles an hour, you'll notice a lot of shudder from the wheels not being balanced, and that's a known thing. So the other brands, like Husqvarna and KTM, that have a comparable model to this one, tried very hard to make a bike that was street legal and dirt capable, and they did a really good job with that. But they had to meet all those EPA regulations, and you can really see it in the bike. To really make those bikes run properly, you have to put a couple $1,000s into them. This fork feels great. The Sachs suspension feels great. These are the reasons that I purchased the Beta 500 RRS. It's a good bike to practice on. I can get off work, hop on this, put some hours on, and I can just go straight from my garage to the trail. So it feels, right now it feels like I'm riding a dirt bike. The clutch feels amazing. The power feels great, very snappy. I can loft my front wheel over stuff pretty easily. Holy cow, this thing rips. It has a radiator fan, which is a must, especially when you're out on the street waiting for stoplights, and especially for hard enduro. Once you're getting into the tight trails and stuff like that, you really need a radiator fan. It comes standard with a nice skid plate. It doesn't cover the linkage, but it's still a nice skid plate. It comes over and covers all the essentials. The headlight works all right. It's not fantastic, but it'll get you there. I mentioned that the exhaust is still pretty restrictive, but nowhere near as restrictive as the other bikes. So if I put an FMF on this thing, it will scream, and it makes a ton of power. I'm loving it so far. The suspension is great, the power is great. For an environment like this, especially like desert stuff, whew, this 500 puts power to the ground. The handlebars are made in-house by Beta. The seat is surprisingly comfortable. Comes out, widens out. I think I'm going to keep the stock seat for a while. I thought it would be really uncomfortable, but I was wrong. This, because of the bigger tank, flares out a little bit and makes a gap in between the seat and here. That doesn't bother me very much. At some point I may get the seat that's designed for that, but for now it just doesn't bother me enough. It has a separate reservoir for your gear oil and your engine oil, so you have two separate reservoirs. That's a very nice feature for longevity. really keeps your engine oil from getting any contaminants in it. Yeah, that kickstand, we'll see how it turns out, but it looks pretty light duty to me. I don't know if it's gonna really hold this thing in a lot of situations. Out on the trail wise, not worried about it on the street at all, but out on the trail you get in some weird angles. Actually, one of the main things to mention about this bike is the Trailtech Voyager GPS unit that comes standard on this bike. So you can upload your rides to this and just follow the ride. You can do tracking. You can track your ride. Gives you your speed, your RPMs, all of that information, your temperature. Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff on it that I really wanted, and it's a great bike. You really realize how dirt capable it is. I mean, this thing's got tons of power, and the suspension feels legit. I mean, the suspension feels really good on this thing. I'm really surprised about the suspension aspect of this. I didn't expect it to be this good. But anyways, guys, I'll catch you on the next ride. See ya.